Hey guys, on this breezy and chilly day, I want to go over in this video how a lot of us contractors are actually losing out on work and losing business because of it. I was one of those contractors, and until I figured it out, I was losing business and didn't even realize I was actually. With this, I was constantly looking for new customers, constantly having to innovate and find where my leads were and who was willing to take on my service. And it was a hassle. It was really exhausting. And I don't know, I couldn't figure out, why was I not getting callbacks? Why was I not getting returned customers? And this is a two-part dilemma. And when I did figure this out, I got customers. I didn't have to chase for work anymore. I didn't have to look around. I didn't have to do any of that. It was always actually getting swamped. A lot of work coming just to me through mainly phone calls, text messages, emails, to the point where I had to start saying no. Our board would get too full 3 to 4 months out, and I couldn't even say yes anymore. I said, if you can take it on in the winter, then that's fantastic, but I can't take you on. And these two dilemmas to start is scheduling. You're probably not scheduling accurately. And above that, you're probably not scheduling yourself in a way that allows you to be accurate for your customer. And what I mean by this is, the problem that we face as a contractor is sometimes we think something's going to take 5 days and it can take 6 or 7 or 8 or a whole extra week. You know, hopefully that doesn't happen too often, but if it does, come talk to me. But it's tough to be accurate with our schedule and be accurate for our customers in that regard. What happens with this is creates a flaky fill where our customers don't respect us, honestly. They feel like we are too aloof. We don't get back to our phone calls soon enough. We don't respond to our texts. And of course, we can't get back to everybody all the time, but at least within 24 hours, we really need to be. And so this creates a big problem where we had this blocked out for, let's say, the 1st of May, and it was going to be 5 days. But we don't get to them until the 3rd week of May, and they're like, dude, what happened? Where were you? And all of a sudden, they might be begrudgingly still using you for that project, but they're not going to use you again. You just lost that customer for good. And this goes for both residential and commercial. With commercial, you have more of a contractual risk where liquidated damages are going to be kind of placed upon you, which is basically like, if you don't perform within this certain frame, and let's say you show up a month late, they can say that you're holding the project back, and that could be quite expensive, like $500 per day. But for residential, they're never going to use you again. They're never going to refer you to a friend. They're never going to tell the neighborhood how amazing your garage floor now looks. Let's say you were doing epoxy flooring. They're never going to say any of that because you didn't show up. You were unprofessional. It's hard to do, but that's the problem, and that's the reality of having those problems unfixed, unchecked. The solution with this, and the one I like the most, is to put up physical boards. So what we do with this is go to Office Depot, or Staples or wherever, and just get like a month chart that has, you know, each week, each day, and allows you, like with a dry erase marker, to put the month and, you know, just a little year. You don't have to, but at least the month. Get 3 of these, and each day, and that's how you're going to block out your time. If it's just you and one crew, even if it's not a crew, if it's just you, this is where we're going to say, like, you know, 1st to the 3rd, we have Deborah's plumbing issue that we're going to fix, okay? A new toilet install or whatever. And we're going to put her down for that. And we're going to put this on the wall. I want to do 3 boards. because it allows us to project to the future. And as we move to the next one, we can erase the old, as long as everything's logged and nothing was forgotten about. Because let's say there was a small warranty thing that we forgot to get back to somebody on. We need to make sure we do that before we fully move on and erase. But we do 3 boards, and this is going to really help us track and also see where we're kind of spaced. Because sometimes all it takes is a phone call saying, hey, I'm going to put you down for the 5th of May. This should take, 3 or 4 days. But please, just in case if something kind of does come up, just give me 1 or 2 days as flexibility. I will communicate with you as we get closer. Everyone's fine with that. They're like, great, sounds good. We'll see you then. And this really helps you project your projects and where you're spaced out. And, let's say if we don't have 3 weeks of work, then okay, we need to start working on some estimates and getting some more jobs in for that 4th week and so forth. You could do this digital as well. I did it physically, personally. I felt like it was just easier to see and easier to do. It was always right up there, big and displayed on the wall. So that's what I recommend, but we need to make sure that we have a board set up with everybody written down. And we need to be accurate, and we have to be able to say no. If we get to the blessed point where we're actually swamped with work, we need to say no to people. Sorry, we can't get to you next week. I can't promise you that. I can make some calls. You can say that, and you can make some calls, see if people are flexible and willing to shift it around, but don't promise that. We don't want to create this issue where we say, yeah, I can get to you next week, no problem, because this guy, is willing to pay an extra grand. If it's worth it to us, then great. But first, we need to see if we can shift the other customers. Because if we just try to squeeze it in, and then now we fuck up the whole schedule, pardon my language, with not being there on time, then it's going to create everybody to be unhappy. And now where we could have had like 3 really happy customers, now we have 3 really pissed off customers just because you're not on time and you're late. You didn't hold up to your promise. Which brings me to the second issue in this dilemma, which is communication and expectation. And in this, my biggest thing that I had to learn after a few years of just not getting it quite right was we need to underpromise and overperform. And where this relates with scheduling is, let's say we have a job that we think is going to take 3 days or 3 weeks. Even though we know it's going to be only 3 days, say it's going to be 5. It's going to be the entire week. Tell that to the customer. What this does is when we finish on the 3rd day, or if it gets pushed an extra day and rather than asking for forgiveness, we have that buffer room and we still finished on even, let's say, the 4th day, which we didn't project for, but we're like, okay, it ran that long. They're like, wow, you finished a day early. You guys are incredible. You worked extra hard for our project. You did it. You guys are so fast. It sets them up psychologically to expect something longer, and then you perform what you always knew is shorter in their mind, and they're stoked. They're going to be like, you're incredible. And you get a lot of return customers by this, just because the expectation is flipped from they delivered it better than I thought they were. This works for everyone. It's just don't fall into the trap like I did, where you want to be a people pleaser. You want to be like, no problem, this is going to be done in 2 days. We're super fast. And then it takes 3 days and now you look like an ass, because you do. Nobody wants to work with that. On top of that, announce when you're going to be arrived or late. So with this communicating and relating back to the schedule as well, we need to communicate when we are going to show up. For example, I just had my business finished, and now thankfully I have tenants in there, and it's helping with the mortgage, so it's fantastic. But the contractor that was doing my basement, really nice guy. I've known his family for years. I will never use him again. Why? The dude couldn't communicate. The dude could not schedule. even though he did decent work and at a really good price. Like, he kind of gave me the family discount. I'm not going to use him again. Like, even as a contractor, I get it, but as a customer, it's just not acceptable. He would show up whenever he wanted to. There would be a week or two where he didn't show up, and now my project is being delayed. And it just wasn't communicated. I had to call him. I'd have to hound him. I'd be like, where are you? That sucks. As a customer, if you're having to do that to you, the contractor, you're failing in this aspect. And it's easily fixable. It takes a little bit of just time, I guess. 5 seconds with voice dictate on the phone saying, hey, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be there today at 10. I'll be there tomorrow, 9 a.m. Something came up and was emergent. Just that simple getting ahead rather than them having to call you, it's going to make all the difference. Even if they're a little frustrated or whatever. They'll get over it. But we need to announce this. And when we schedule somebody, I always kind of put it in verbally, just saying, hey, just give me a day or two of flexibility. Sometimes things get pushed out a little long, but I will give you a notice as we get closer. So 3 days before we start their project, let's say we're starting on a Monday, give them a call on Tuesday or on Thursday or Friday. Just say, hey, it looks like we're still good for Monday. Expect us somewhere between 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. We are going to get some materials and get things set up, but we'll be there. Does that work for you still? And then that way you're set up. And if it doesn't work for them, they're like, oh, wow, I totally forgot I'm on vacation. Then you can reschedule and it's not like a whole day blown. So this saves on a lot of time and hassle for everybody. And with this communication, they feel the professionality from you. They know that you're on top of it and that you're not slacking. Because if you do the other, you're not on top of it and you're slacking. And people won't use you simply because of that. You could have done a perfect job, but if you don't have your scheduling and you don't have your communication and expectation down, they won't use you again because you look flaky. And this could be done just with simple text updates. For residential, just text them. Say, hey, shoot, I'm going to be 3 days behind. This is like a few days ahead. Like, does that kill you? Blah, 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 right? But it saves the world in customer relationship. And when it comes to commercial work, like let's say we're on a job with a bunch of different subs, the same pretty much applies with the super. You can just say, hey, I'm not going to be there. And they're, of course, going to be like, oh my gosh, you're killing me, my schedule. This pushes out, blah, blah, blah. And you're just going to like, dude, I'll do what I can. If you're willing, you can say, I'll call around, but otherwise they're going to be fine. If it's a few days, hopefully it's not a full week, but if it's a few days, they're going to be fine. You just do what you can. But as long as you communicate, it doesn't break the relationship. They can be frustrated for a moment, but you did your job. You held professionality. And that's the most important thing. Just these two things take you from average Joe that all of your competition is with to professional, top of the notch, in-field expert. Just these two alone, it pegs you up a whole nother level. And when we started doing this, everybody started calling us back. Everybody just said, these guys are the best. We got the best reviews because I communicated. I would do a voice dictate like all the 15, 60-year-olds because it's just so much easier. It's so much faster. You can get so much business done with a text just by talking into it. That's all it takes, 5 seconds. You'll never regret it. You just have to think of it and do it immediately and then continue with your job, even if you're in the field, even if you're the one doing the work. Think of it, shoot the text, get back to what you're doing. You'll never regret that. And so what this did was created all the returning customers. It created more work. It gave us that professional view to all of our customers. And now we have people saying they did a fantastic job. They were great. They did what they said they were going to do and faster than they said they were going to do it. Like, these guys are the best. And you can charge typically what you want to. I mean, of course, it has to be within still the market, has to be fairly competitive. But this is the trend that puts you from bottom of the barrel, scraping to get any sort of like low number bid accepted, to charging like 50% more than you normally would, just because you are professional. You're able to charge. You are the guy that everybody else wants to be. So if you find yourself not getting a bunch of callbacks in regards to more work, then this is probably something you need to delve into. Look into your business. Are you scheduling correctly? Are you sticking to what you're saying? Are you under promising and overperforming? And are you communicating with your customers? I get it. Most of us are all guys. You know, we're in the construction game, and communication's not our best thing. I get it. But this is what the business needs, and this is what it takes to level up and hit that success point, just at least further in the direction that you're headed to. It'll just result in way more gains in your revenue, and your bottom line will appreciate it, which means your family's going to appreciate it and your wife's going to appreciate it. So I recommend taking the advice. And if you have any questions, please ask me anything, just in the comments below, DM me, whatever you need. And if you want to go into more, I got a newsletter that I try to do at least every other day. I'm working on it, but where I give advice like this to fix these problems. And if this is something that you want to delve into a little bit deeper, I've done all this. I've been in the construction game for over 10 years. I've built my way to become the COO of a concrete and waterproofing contractor company. And I have worked to bring in 2 to 3 million in revenue every single year. So these are all trials that I had to go through personally, mistakes that I had to fix and figure out. And this is the model that I was able to create that brought us to the success point, with our bottom line being wealthy, to say the least. And I want to share this with you. So if you want to learn anything and work with me personally, reach out to me. There's a Calendly link below. We'll do a 30-minute talk, and to see if you're a right fit. Not everybody is. It's what I teach to become a successful contractor isn't for everybody. It requires you to really want to move forward. I don't just hand you a fish because that'll feed you for a day. What I do is I teach you how to become a fisher to feed you for a lifetime. And this is how we found our success point. So till then, we'll see you in the next video, and I'll hear from you soon. Later.